So in this video today, we're going to be looking at why Westernized Islam is the best form of Islam. Oh man. Now people may be wondering, Islam in the West, Islam in the East? I mean, there's only one Islam. Well, that's not true. And in this video, I'm going to be looking at why they're different and why it's a good thing that they're different. Well, it's a good thing for us in the West that they're different. Firstly, let's look at what makes Islam unique as a religion compared to any other religion. Unlike any other religion that I've come across, Islam has two parts to it. Now they have the religious part, which is the praying, the community, the fasting, and then they have the political part. Now the non-existence of the political aspect of Islam in the West is what makes Islam in the West and Islam in the East completely different. Now here in the West, we're majority Christian. However, we don't have to follow the Christian law if we don't want to. Because in the Bible, God says something along the lines of that we should respect the law of man as well as the law of God. Now, in Islamic countries, that isn't the case. There is no law of man, there's only law of God. And the Islamic law is Sharia law. And if you're visiting, you have to follow it. And obviously, if you're living there, you have to follow it. And you have absolutely no choice. Now, the strictness in which Sharia law is applied varies on the country. Now, some Islamic countries are more modern than others. For example, Dubai, Saudi, I think 3 years ago, Saudi gave women the right to drive. And then you have countries like Iran and Afghanistan who are still very much postmodern. Now, the absence of Sharia law in the West means that we see the most peaceful side of Islam. All we see is the praying and the community and, the love and the good stuff. The good stuff about religion. Because there is, even though I'm an atheist, look, there is a lot of good about religion. And I think the absence of Sharia law in the West, you can really see the good side to it. And when Muslims in the West say Islam is the religion of peace, I really believe that they believe this. But let's not get it twisted. It's a Western saying. Muslims in the East are not saying this. But Muslims in the West really believe it because the Islam that they practice is very much peaceful. And I can make an argument that, for me anyways, in my personal life, some of the Muslims that I've met are some of the most peaceful people I've met. Just on road, on a basketball court in a park or wherever, or just in general life, in shops and wherever. Some of the most peaceful people that I've ever met. So when they claim that Islam is a religion of peace, I really do believe that they believe it because that's the religion they practice. And I think Muslims in the West find it hard to associate what's going on in the Middle East in terms of the violence and the killings and the suicide bombings. They find it hard to associate that with their religion because that's just not what they practice. That's the opposite of what they practice in the West. But what I would say to that is just remember Islam was not created in the West. It was created in the Middle East. And what they're practicing in the Middle East is actually the real form of Islam. What you're practicing here is Islam Westernized. Islam modernized. And what they're practicing down there is the true form of Islam. Now, when you see women not able to have certain rights and you see, all these bombings, all these killings, these are not coincidences. You look at how women are treated in Muslim countries and they go, it's not the religion, it's the culture. I never understood that argument from a Muslim's perspective because everything they do in Muslim countries, in Islamic countries, has to have been given the okay by the Quran because they're governed by Sharia law. One thing you can say about these Muslim countries is they're not going against their Quran. They're not going against their book. So if women have no rights and they're doing everything according to their book, surely connect the dots, right? But not everybody's a critical thinker. And I think that's, that plays a big part in religion. People not really wanting to think critically. My first question of religion, because I grew up Christian, my first question was, if God is so good and all this good stuff, why was it that slaves enslaved black people and then they went home to pray? 4 years later, read the Bible, guess what? Verses about slavery in the Bible. So it's easy to connect the dots in Islam when you see how women are treated and the fact that they follow their book. all you have to do is just search your books and you'll find verses about how to treat women. But I don't want to get too off topic, and I am rambling. But this is the end of the video. I hope this explained the difference between Islam in the West and Islam in the East. And Islam in the West is much better, much more progressive.